This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
The penultimate episode, Take a Drink, as Trish makes a move on Salinger. Jessica intervenes and ends up caught in a harrowing dance with a killer. Our director this evening is the great Sarah Boyd. Brian Michael Bendis and, of course, Michael Gatos get our Marvel Created By credits. Okay, and now we've got our story editors, Jay Holtham and Jamie King, doing that hard editing work. Our written by goes to Mr. Scott Reynolds, hardest working lady in show business. I am guessing, or possibly a man in show business. Jesse Harris, the gender neutral, hardest working person in show business, staff writer, and of course Melissa Rosenberg. She created all this, so we give her credit too. Man, this is a lot of fun. And yeah. AKA a lot of, I gotta say, I love when there's a title that isn't immediately clear what it means.
I
gotta tell you this. When you watch the first season of the first episode of Watchmen, the title is Summer's Coming and We're Running Out of Ice. And it's a cute title.
Right, metaphorically.
And when you get to the final scene, you understand what it means, and it is just,
right.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And this is not dissimilar, because
Indeed.
that's a lot of worms.
Hey, Trish, what's going on, buddy?
Literally about. So when you hear a lot of worms, you think of, a can of worms. We're opening a can of worms, and you think.
Well, it's nice to talk to you.
But then when we actually get to the lot of worms scene, it's like, actual worms. Which is its own delightful aspect of the story.
Hi, Mozz.
And at this point, she's still under the impression that it's her boyfriend.
He struggles hard to stay awake, but yes, it is nice to talk to you. Okay, so when we open up,
for being a PI.
Yay, from jail, because she's obviously not the murderer. Because the murderer has.
Or she's actively looking for any reason to think that this guy isn't a good guy. Because how could he possibly be?
You think Eric's killing people, which, not for nothing.
Right. But I mean, on a scale of everybody else in Hell's Kitchen, he's all right.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like she doesn't want to know.
That aside.
Well, yeah. And for what it's worth, how good he is entirely different.
Speaking of burgers, I made a burger today, and I tried MSG for the first time, and it is glorious.
Well, yeah, he's a decent enough guy. He's good enough, even though he's, you know my opinions on him.
It's what is it?
I'll go all the way back and I'll say, man, Fool Killer was right, is what I will say there. Well, yes, it is literally a flavor enhancer. It is a glutamate. You know what glutamate is? Well, a glutamate is actually what is umami.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So have you ever heard of the flavor of umami? That is the taste of protein. Yeah. And essentially how monosodium glutamate came in is this Japanese scientist was out eating ramen one day, and he noticed that, so there's salty, there's sweet, we go to all his.
It's wonderful. It's gotten a bad rap, but it's quite good. In moderation, obviously, just like everything else.
Like sciences it out and figures out, oh, that's glutamate. And he says, wow, man, if you could just put that in a, if you could just attach a glutamate to a salt, you could actually just make something that you could just
Don't take too
automatically
much of
add
it.
flavor to. And thus, monosodium glutamate was
Right.
born. The other salt, you don't want to oversalt it,
Right.
because monosodium glutamate can knock your electrolyte levels off because you're taking too much of it. But they, 1 pint, 1 day. There you go. Yeah, you can drink as much as you like, and you will know when you drink too much because your body will let you know the next day. But yeah, so where were we? A whole lot of worms. Patsy has killed
Or
the
or you found
the
yourself an
developer guy
easy
who's running
loophole
around town.
and you've gotten away with it a few times, so
The
now it
the
just becomes
serial
your MO.
arsonist developer, which is like, and at a certain point, it's not about when you burn down 6 buildings to build new ones. It's less about you wanting to build buildings and more about you wanting to burn things down. I think, and I think that's you know, well, it's I don't know. I mean, I'm a big believer that when you continually do something, because not for nothing, when you're burning things down, that's a huge risk. That you got away with a huge risk is great for you, but that you keep on going back to it says that it's more about getting away with the risk than it is about what you're accomplishing through the risk. I always say, there's a joke I really like. I'll do a real abbreviated version about this guy. He goes hunting bears, and he misses the bear the first time, and the bear offers him to actually, he'll either eat him or he'll have sex with him. And the guy agrees to the sex, and this happens 2 or 3 more times. Each time, as the guy's trying to come out there to get his revenge on the bear, and by the third time, the bear says, "This isn't about the sport anymore, is it?" And that is, I think, how I feel about this guy who Patsy winds up killing. And this is all, of course, while Patsy is processing her mother's death because she feels, you know, she can kill this guy. She could kill, and this is the truth: is she could kill Salinger whenever she wants, however she wants, and she's being told she can't. And that's the person who needs the killing. And when she's fighting other people, she's doing other things. She's kind of pigeonholing herself into a spot where it's like it's not really what she wants. But this is where she's at, and she winds up again accidentally killing, much like she accidentally killed the cop in the previous, where she pushes the cop and grabs his badge, and he falls back and hits his head, which is just like, man, that is like the easiest way to kill people. It just seems that. I was watching an episode of Columbo the other day, and like this, it was the one where he goes to London, and this this guy gets into a fight with this woman's husband, and she throws a box at his head, and it hits him, and it just happens to
Yeah,
him in
and
just the right
punches to the
spot
back of the
where he
head
dies.
are illegal in MMA.
And it's just like, man, and you would say that seems unrealistic until you realize that actually your head is covered with massive veins and a very delicate brain. That actually, if you do hit it just right, you actually do just die pretty much. So it's that's why
Right,
rabbit
right. I mean,
punches
that's just
are a real
marketing.
weapon. Yeah, well, that's what a rabbit punch
Right,
is.
right,
Punching a
right.
rabbit. So yeah, you're not allowed to do that because yeah, it's
Yeah,
not only is
a
it
lot of
really a
these
quick way to
techniques
go to
end up
game
being
over, but
that
you could
Daffy
also
Duck
really
trick that
game
you can
over
only
someone
do
with
once.
that. So mixed martial arts. The whole idea of no holds barred. Very quickly you realize why certain holds are barred. Yeah, I was like, oh, no hold bar. It's like, oh wait, we should probably bar that hold. We'll let you do the scissor.
Is
We'll let
trying
you
to
do a
kill
scissor
another
lock,
guy.
but yeah, don't not around the neck. Well, you can do it a lot of times, but the guy who's making stuff up only can do it once.
Fair enough.
That's the problem. But okay, so our dear friend Patsy has killed a guy, and again, but Eric is in this spot where he's like, yeah, it feels great, But and again, this is where he gets into his own existential despair because it's like I don't want to be killing just to feel better. I don't want this to be a positive for me.
Right, right.
I want to get through all of this and come out the other side and not be as big of a monster as I probably know I already am. But of course, Patsy says that's fine. I know what I
Right,
got
because
to do.
she
I already got
fights
my next
these
target
same
picked out, which of
emotions
course
all the time, and she's
is going to
seeing
be Lilith.
her sister
Oh,
go through the same things, and she's like,
you
oh
know,
God, I know what
she's
phase
in the
she's
same
in right
boat.
now.
And what I love about this is how much Jessica is doing everything in her power to protect Patsy from herself. Well, yeah, and to be fair, is really where she's at. It's hard to describe it in any other way aside from the fact that they're both working through this realization that they have power. And not to belabor the point, but with
Oh
that
no,
power comes,
I thought you said death metal. I was like, well, no, not
but
so much
in that
anymore.
great responsibility to protect or to defend. And I think
Oh,
that's
oh,
where
oh, yeah,
this
I know
this
this. It's
more
the guy with
complex
the
stuff
spiky hair.
because
He's a demon. And if you write
it's
someone's name in the book, he kills them,
it's
right?
like Death Note. I don't know if you're familiar with Death Note. It's an anime series. I think it might. Guy gets a hold of a magical notebook, essentially. And I'm giving you like the bad Cliff Notes Wicked.
It's kind of reminiscent of that
Well,
old Chuck
so
Palahniuk
someone
book,
will die,
Lullaby, where a guy learns a certain
and
lullaby,
it becomes
a
this
little
idea that,
song that he
well,
sings,
you know what,
and he
I
can
could
aim his attention on anybody,
but of course,
and
what
they will
people point
die.
out is like the people he winds up killing is much grayer.
Yeah, it's
It's not like
fascinating.
he's
It's
saying
really,
I
really good. And
kill
then it
all
gets to the
serial killers.
point
Oh
where
yeah, it's like
your
no,
impulsive mind can
he's
almost spit it
taking
out at
specific
anybody, and he
people
has
and
to
he
put a lot of attention
granddaddy
into not
stuff.
accidentally just, thinking about it for somebody, and somebody will die. It's really, really interesting.
Oh, things good sleep. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Wow.
Yeah. Mm,
Well, yeah. Well, that's sort of what going all the way back to season one.
mm.
What Kilgrave said. It's like I don't intend it. It's just every time I talk, everyone does what I want, and it's like it's you know I don't know if they're doing it because I want them to or not. Of course, in the end,
Yeah.
and that I think is maybe the point of Death Note
Yeah.
and everything else is that it's like at a certain point you're doing it because you want to. Because and that is I think where Patsy finds herself
Mm.
because Jessica really plays all the angles. And I like the fact that she's now planting evidence since she had already
Yeah,
destroyed
and
everything.
and and not only that, but there's something to it
She got ahead
with
of
him. The
she got
reason
her
he needs to
she got
kill
her supervillain
is
hat on,
that's the
and
only moment
she
you can
worked her
get
angles. And
somebody
basically,
to
what I like
let
about it
down
is
their
she
walls
takes
to
it out
admit who
front.
they are, or so he sees it. So
But
in that moment, he
Senators
needs to
always feel like
prove
he
that
needs
he's
to
better
shut
than
everyone
her,
in the
or
room
he
down.
needs her to know that he's better than her,
Not
and
at
he
all.
needs her to admit that, and he
I
needs
think that is
to
is
take her
the
to that
best
moment
because
where she's about to
most
die, where she
realistically,
doesn't care about the consequences of her image breaking down, so she admits to who she really is, and that's what's really important to him.
yeah, but of course, that I think is, one of the, there was a fun thing in the Incredible Hulk comics years ago, where basically, who you are, like your deepest self inside yourself is who you become when you get gamma irradiated, and like it becomes a twisted
Ah.
version of yourself. But then Rick Jones gets it, and he gets all big and monstrous, but he's still like, oh no, I'm still Rick Jones. I mean, because I'm just not that deep. I am who I say I am. I am what I am, and yeah, now I look like a giant armadillo, but I'm still just Rick Jones. And I think there's something of that to Jessica Jones. It's like, you're not gonna unmask her because she doesn't wear a mask. There's not anything about her that she's really hiding.
And it's like inferiority
She's a
complex.
lady who's dealt with a lot of trauma, and her parents died, and yeah, there's guilt and survivor's guilt and all that Psych 101 stuff that
He still
anyone
believes the
who's
thing his
taken
father
Psych
used to say to
101
him.
can
That still
certainly
rides
spew out
in
just
the
like
back of his
Salinger
head.
does. And that Salinger thinks this is great deep insight is, of course, a highlighting of his lack of depth of thought. Hmm. Yeah, well, of course, because he's always feeling inferior because, truth be told, he isn't the best. He isn't the uber. Yeah, well, and we do have the new Watchmen out right now, and I believe Adrian Veidt is in it. We don't know for sure because we've only seen one scene of the old British guy, you know, in his magical castle and whatnot. And oh, and mark my words, his servants are definitely robots. But within this whole idea, it's this like that the entire concept of Adrian Veidt is and again, it's is this, it's interesting that he has Ozymandias and Rorschach in it because they are both the Randian Supermen. This idea of the guy who says, "I will make myself up from nothing because that is the only way to prove that I am the best there is." Um, which, if you think about it, in and of itself, is also kind of a rotten way to do things because obviously, Doctor Doom built himself up from nothing, but he didn't have a choice in it. It's like he could have built himself up from nothing, but if he had had stuff, you would have said, "No, that's fine. I'm good with the stuff." But anyway, where was I going with this? Uh, but Salinger, he wants to be this man who says, "I'm self-made," but he's not. Because he's literally isn't. Because literally, he got a big insurance settlement
Right.
that funded everything he did from then on. And he wanted to get a scholarship, but then when his friend was a better wrestler than him, he decided that the reason why he was getting the attention was because he was Mexican, and it seems unlikely. Honestly, I'm just going to throw that out there that no sports team, no, you don't do tokenism on sports teams.
Right, right.
Yeah, because first off, you don't have to. There's more than enough non-white people who are very good at sports that you have to say, oh well, we'll just get the Mexican kid because we need a Mexican. Like,
Right.
no, we've got more than enough Mexican wrestlers. We can really, honestly, a white wrestler might be exciting, but we don't have any.
Yeah, and at first I thought it
Because
was
they're
going to
not
be
that
ants
good
because
wrestlers.
when they looked
So,
at it earlier with
and then
the
he
no,
turns
no, it wasn't
to
the spider in there, right?
and that is who Salinger is. And when we
The
get
spider. I
to
guess maybe that was something
his
else.
collection of worms, which is in its own weird way just totally stupid. Um, that he has pet worms. It's like, it's not even ants. It's worms. Was there a spider? No, it was. I think it's always been worms. Well, I mean, they make the web pattern, and and I'm sure worms make very intricate patterns too. But I don't know. It's odd that he would choose worms and not ants. Although I guess maybe the argument is he chose worms because he could hide the camera in there, and the worms were less likely to disturb it.
Right,
Whereas
and
ants would be
somehow
much more likely
immediately
to.
Costa has his job back. That was weird.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was doing, but anyway, yeah. But they do find the camera hidden in the worm farm, and steal his server and beat him up and let the cops know that, oh, there was some evidence you might have missed at his apartment. Well, you know what? I mean, hey, unions, okay?
Fair enough.
Well, because he never stopped being a cop. He just got moved to another case. He got put on desk
Oh, I thought
duty.
he got fired or something.
No, you know how hard it is to fire a cop.
Oh, fair enough.
Especially if you haven't actually killed anybody. He's like the most he's done is like been slightly embarrassing in the way he's conducted his cases. Been a little too
Yeah,
trusting of Jessica Jones. It's like, yeah, we have unions for these sorts of things.
yeah.
But for what it's worth, this is why when they say, oh, that guy killed that guy, that cop killed that guy, and he's
I was
just on
right
desk.
all
It's like,
along,
yeah, because
see?
he's got a union that says, you don't get to just fire someone just because you want to. That it actually is a much more complex process.
Right, right. No, he didn't do a good enough
And
job of bringing the
so yeah,
case,
so no,
but brought the trouble
So
instead.
Gossip was still a cop, still has his badge, and he gets the tip, and he goes in and he says, "Hey, I got a tip. This is what we're gonna do." And then they go in and they catch the bad guy.
I love how
Well, yeah.
afraid she
Well, for what
was
it's worth,
when she was talking to
for
Jessica
Gossip, it
about
wasn't
whether or
that
not
anyone ever thought he wasn't right.
Trish
It's
would come
just that
after her.
they couldn't prove it.
I guess when you recognize you only have a little bit of time left, that time becomes
Exactly.
oh so much more
And of course,
precious.
99% of that is the fact that Hogarth is deciding to be so helpful, which
Right,
is like
right,
its own bag of hammers. I think you can all
right.
agree. Well, I mean, it's fair enough because, well, and more to the point, if Trisha's killing people that she knows is evil, Hogarth, and they bring it all back to the good place. It's like, you know, how much good has she done for how much evil has she done? And for what it's worth, both her and Malcolm both open up this entire season by the idea of, being vigilantes on their own and taking law into their own hands and dispensing their own justice because they know these are really evil people that they're consorting. But they do get
I
Selinger
guess you're
sort
still
of,
somehow
and
involved.
Hogarth says she is no longer interested in serving as his pro bono attorney. Oh no, she was still there. Yeah, no, that's correct. That's a weird thing because I think like 3 episodes ago she said she was no longer being. But actually, I think that there's actually an aspect to that, which is that once you become someone's attorney, it's not that easy to just stop being their attorney. Yeah, because you're their attorney of record, so you actually are obliged to serve them. So you know, um, so yeah, and that's why at the end of it, Hogarth is there when Patsy decides to continue on with her plans, and I just think this is so much. It's so fascinating because this is Jessica plotting and planning and putting itself in a situation where they see now you don't have to. And the problem for Jessica is it's like she never had to. She always wanted. It wasn't that she had to kill um
And he tells Jessica
Jessica.
as
It was
much
just
when he
that truth be
calls her.
told,
He's like, she's gonna come
Salinger was
get
going to
me,
get caught.
and
Salinger was
know
going to get put
you're
behind
not gonna
bars.
be able
But
to
you know
stop
what?
her, or
Because
something
Salinger
like
was
that,
going to
or
get pull his own brains
and she
out
knows it's true too. That's
because
why
he
she
just
shows up
couldn't
there.
handle being caught, and you would know that the end was near.
Yeah.
He knows essentially once Salinger is outed. I mean, eventually someone's going to come after him, and he knows his days are numbered. Yeah, and of course, what they do is they actually, or he, you know, Cisco orchestrates this perfect situation in which the guy he's caught, he's going to go to jail, but that's not good enough because Patsy wants what Patsy wants. Patsy wants blood. And when she actually breaks into the courthouse and attacks him in the elevator and murders him in the elevator. I mean, it is just a powerful scene because it is literally about, this isn't about justice. This is about vengeance. This is why she is the Hellcat. She is here to. Patsy Walker is the Hellcat. It's Patsy. It's Patsy. I really want to be here. Yeah, that's Patsy Walker. Marvel Comics' oldest continuous character. Yeah, she predates the Fantastic Four. She was essentially Marvel's Archie, and they created Patsy as this character, as this, lovable redhead who went on wacky misadventures with her high school friends. And then, when superheroes started coming up, she started making cameos because everyone knew who Patsy was. So she'd show up in like a Fantastic Four book here and there, because Stan Lee wrote a lot of Patsy books, but when he was coming up in the business, and so they'd always have her do these little Patsy Walker cameos, the way Stan Lee would later do cameos. And then eventually someone decided that oh, you know what Patsy Walker's going to want to do? She knows that the world's now superheroes, so she's going to go be a superhero. And then they have this whole thing where she gets the cat suit from Greer Nelson, and then she becomes the cat, and then she marries him Hellstrom, but then Hellstrom drives her insane with his satanic powers, and she kills herself, she goes to hell, she comes back, and that's when she actually becomes the Hellcat. She's only been the Hellcat since like the early aughts, maybe the early teens.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
oh yeah, but it's how we know her because she is Patsy Walker Hellcat. Because that was a really good series. If you ever get to read Patsy Walker Hellcat,
Hmm.
but part of that, she was always just a cat. So, Patsy Walker is a quintessential Marvel character because all the things that make Marvel comics really fun, which is a lot of self-referential uh, deep dives
Right,
and
right. This is the
and
indeed.
ongoing continuity. She's all about that. So yeah, yeah. Which is why I really hope we get to see more of Patsy after this is all said and done. Um, We got one more episode left to see what Patsy does. But in this moment, Patsy has done the unthinkable. Although, to be fair, this is the third guy she's killed.
Yeah, and that's what he said to her when on the phone call. He's like,
And
"Will you
really,
be able to do
this
the
is
right
not his
thing
first
when
movie.
it
Because
comes
he's
to your
actually
own?"
like,
So like he was letting her know, you're eventually going to have
this
to
is like
stop her
maybe the,
because the
Hey,
bug is in her,
every
and
serial
she's
killer
going
thinks they have
to
a point.
evolve into a
I
bigger and
think
bigger
Patsy has a
monster, and
better
eventually
argument than
you're going to
like
have to
Hannibal
fight her. Are you
Lecter.
going to be able to kill
Because
her? Are
Hannibal
you going to be able to
Lecter's
stop her? And
point
he
is
finds a lot of
usually
enjoyment in
much
that thought.
closer to Salinger's point. But yeah,
Right.
that is the crux of John Trubisky is yeah, he gets that enjoyment out of saying you have this person you love is everything that you didn't want,
Mm,
but at the same time, and again, this is why a character like the Punisher, even when he kills those kids, we can look at as
right.
somewhat redeemable. Because, well, because to give you the contrast, when the cop killed those kids, killed the teenage kids, it was for self-aggrandizement. It was for money.
Mm,
It was to maintain his situation and to expand his situation. It was never about
mm,
I must simply punish.
mm.
And
Right.
so, there actually is a line that differentiates. So when Patsy
Mm,
Walker kills, um, spoilers obviously, when Patsy Walker kills Salinger, it's very easy to say, oh, she's a monster, but of course she's a monster who kills monsters. She is Godzilla.
Hmm.
You know, she is the monster who may destroy, but will also protect. You know, much in the same way that a guy like the Punisher is. He may destroy, but he'll also protect. Um, and now, of course, it's a very gray, gradating
Hmm.
line between a Punisher and a Doctor Doom, and a Punisher or King the Conqueror, or any other villain who, in their private moments, might be much nicer
I think
to
she
you
can get away with like a
once you
charge
get
of
to know
temporary
her.
insanity of
But
crime of passion in that
in this
situation,
moment,
but not for the other three.
Patsy Walker is killer because she feels justified because there has been evil done and it must be avenged. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was her mother.
Yeah, it was her mother, and not for nothing. It was her mother, and
Right.
yeah, it's
Right. She made to make sure that it was known that it was the same
well,
person that did
yeah,
them
and
both.
that's the
So
problem is that she killed the other three. Oh well, yeah, three if you count Jessica's mom. Jessica's mom is an arguable one too. But yeah, I mean, when you look at all of her kills, although you only have really evidence of the last one, but I guess they tie them all together. So yeah, I mean, without a doubt, she's going to jail for a long time. But
yeah.
she's going to the raft, and not for nothing, that's where you get your thunderbolt. So, oh shoot, I'm sorry, it just spoiled the last episode of it there. Lilith, cut that out. Cut that out. Do a jump here. Uh, yeah. So anyway, yeah, if she gets arrested, she would go to the raft.
They can
But the
email
raft is
me at
actually where you get your
mozzmanzor
thunderbolt
at
before you actually get
gmail.com. That's
to the
MOZZ
although to be fair,
MANZOOR. Or
Suicide
find me
Squad
on
came way
Facebook under
before
Moz
Marvel
Manzor.
ever did it. So props to you, DC, on coming up with the. Okay, Maz. I think that's all the story that happened this episode. Where can people find you if they'd like to tell you what they feel about things as well? Okay, and of course
For
you can get back
quality.
to yourself at
Ding!
Gmail way the way or Maz from Browse One State at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's super connectivity blog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet The Watchmen and maybe Batwoman and who knows what else. At Charlie Esser. That's CHAR, the lightning. SDR. Look for the two E's in the middle. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the penultimate episode of the AKA Jones cast. Just know that after it's all said and done, all me and Maz ever wanted was to just really, really, really be your friend. Good night.